If you ever transferred to a new school in the middle of the year, do me a favor. Before you accept your class schedule, count the classrooms. Count them twice, because I did. And there was one more room than there should have been. My name doesn't matter right now. What matters is room 119 and the 11 days I spent trying to convince people it existed before I understood why no one else could see it. This is a true account, pieced together from my journal, the school's disciplinary records, and a conversation I was never supposed to hear. This is the story of Lockhart Preparatory Academy.
I transferred to Lockhart Prep in October, halfway through junior year. My dad's job moved us out to a small town in Vermont, the kind of place with one stoplight, a diner that closes at 6 p.m., and a private school that had been standing since 1911. Lockhart Prep looked exactly like you'd expect a 100-year-old school to look. Ivy on brick. Radiators that clanked like they were breathing. Hallways that seemed to stretch a little longer than the building's footprint should have allowed. My first day, the front office gave me a laminated map and a schedule. First period, room 104. Second period, room 108. Third period, and I remember staring at this one for a solid 10 seconds. Room 119. Advanced Literature, Ms. Aldrich. The office secretary, a tired woman named Mrs. Doyle, glanced at my schedule and did something strange. She reached over, took my pen out of my hand, and very calmly crossed out 119 and wrote 121 instead. "Printer's been glitching all semester," she said, not looking up. "You want 121. Trust me." I didn't think much of it. Schools have typos. I went to 121, sat through Advanced Literature with a perfectly normal teacher named Mr. Findley, and thought nothing more of it. Until 3 days later, when I got lost looking for the bathroom and ended up on a hallway I didn't recognize, and found a door with a brass plate that read 119. The lights inside were on. I want to be precise about what I saw, because I've replayed it in my head more times than I can count. The door was open about 6 inches. Inside, I could see rows of old wooden desks, the kind with the attached chair and the flip-top lid, not the plastic ones every other classroom had. A chalkboard, not a whiteboard. And at the front of the room, a woman in a long gray cardigan, writing something on the board with her back to the door. I remember the handwriting. Tight, slanted, almost aggressive cursive. She was writing the same sentence over and over, filling every inch of the board. Attendance must be taken. Attendance must be taken. Attendance must be taken. I knocked on the door frame, just to be polite. Just to say, "Hey, wrong room, sorry." She stopped writing. She didn't turn around. But she said, in a voice that sounded like it was coming from underwater, "Are you on my list?" I didn't answer. I don't know why, but every instinct in my body told me not to answer. I just backed away, and when I turned the corner, the hallway I'd walked down 30 seconds earlier simply wasn't there anymore. I was standing at the top of the main staircase, 40 feet from where I thought I was. I told myself I'd gotten turned around. Old buildings do that. I almost believed it. Almost. That night, I looked up Lockhart Prep's history for the first time, and I found a single archived local news article from 1987, scanned and barely legible, with a headline that made my stomach drop. Local teacher, 3 students unaccounted for after-school fire. Room 119 sealed. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about that phrase, "Are you on my list?" The next morning, I asked around, carefully, casually, the way you do when you don't want to sound insane. I asked a girl in my chemistry class, Priya, if she knew anything about a fire at the school. Her face changed instantly. She pulled me into the stairwell, away from the crowd, and said something I'll never forget. "You saw her, didn't you?" It wasn't a question. Priya told me what she knew, which wasn't much. Just rumors passed down through older siblings, and yearbooks nobody talked about. In 1987, a literature teacher named Eleanor Aldridge taught in room 119. She had a habit, strict, obsessive, of taking attendance twice. Once at the start of class, once at the end, because she believed a student had once left without her noticing, and something terrible happened to him on the walk home. The fire started in the boiler room beneath 119 on a Tuesday afternoon. Most of the school evacuated in under 4 minutes. But Ms. Aldridge refused to leave until she'd finished her final attendance count. 3 students stayed behind with her, helping her check names off a clipboard while smoke filled the room. None of them made it out. The school didn't rebuild room 119. They bricked over the hallway that led to it and rerouted the floor plan entirely. Officially, Lockhart Prep has never had a room 119 since 1987. So then how? I asked Priya. Did I see it? How did I see her? Priya went pale. Because she's still taking attendance, she said. And people say, once she's seen you, she puts you on the list. And nobody who's ever ended up on that list stayed enrolled here past 2 weeks. I laughed it off. I told her that was insane. I told myself the same thing walking home. Then I checked my school portal that night and found a new document uploaded to my student file. A single PDF. No sender listed. No timestamp. It was a class roster. Advanced Literature, Room 119. Ms. E. Aldridge. My name was on it, handwritten, in tight, slanted cursive. I want to tell you I did the smart thing. I want to tell you I told my parents, transferred schools, burned the PDF, whatever. I didn't. I did the thing every person in every horror story does, and I went looking for the room again, because some idiot part of me needed to know if it was real, or if I was losing my mind. For 10 days I searched. The hallway never appeared the same way twice. Sometimes it was near the gym. Once it was behind a supply closet that had definitely been a supply closet the week before. I started keeping a journal, time-stamping every sighting, trying to find a pattern. On the 11th day, I found it on purpose, because I'd finally figured out the pattern. The hallway only appeared at exactly 2:47 p.m., the time the fire alarm had gone off in 1987. I skipped last period and waited by the stairwell. At 2:47, the air got cold enough that I could see my breath, and the hallway was just there, like it had always been there. The door to 119 was wide open this time, and Ms. Aldridge was standing in the doorway, waiting for me, clipboard in hand. And for the first time, she looked directly at me. "You're late," she said. Everyone else already checked in. Behind her, I could see 3 shapes sitting at those old wooden desks. Still. Silent. Facing forward like they were waiting for a lesson that had ended 38 years ago. She raised the clipboard and read my name off it. My full name. The one that was on my new student ID. A name I hadn't told anyone at that school yet. And that's when I finally ran. I didn't stop until I was 3 blocks from campus. I called my dad from a gas station and told him I wasn't feeling well, and he picked me up without asking questions. That weekend, I begged him to let me switch back to public school. I told him Lockhart wasn't a good fit. I never told him why. Here's the part I haven't told anyone until now. 2 weeks after I left Lockhart Prep, I looked up the school directory online out of morbid curiosity. My name was still listed, under Advanced Literature. Room 119. Status: present. I called the school. I asked Mrs. Doyle, the same secretary who'd crossed out my schedule that first day, to correct the error. She went quiet on the phone for a long moment. Then she said, very softly, "Sweetheart, we don't have a room 119. You wrote it on my schedule yourself," I said. "You crossed it out. You told me it was a printer glitch." The line was silent for so long I thought she'd hung up. "I've worked in that office for 19 years, she finally said. "I've never once crossed anything off a student's schedule. And there's no Mrs. Doyle who works here. There's never been a Mrs. Doyle." I never found out who I'd been talking to that first day. I never went back to Lockhart Prep to check. But sometimes, usually around 2:47 in the afternoon, I still feel that same cold drop in temperature. And I've stopped counting classrooms in every building I walk into, because I already know what happens if the count comes out wrong. If a room existed in your school that wasn't supposed to be there, would you have knocked? Let me know below. And if this one kept you up, you know what to do. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next file.